Hey everyone, it's Rob with Passport to the Parks, and today is Saturday, June the 6th, and we are here back in my office to do another Disney live stream. I started a live stream series based on the Disney Skyliner and all of the construction updates that I did over the past few years for the Disney Skyliner. I just thought it would be kind of fun, especially since we're still in semi-lockdown mode here, to go back and take a look at all the past videos and pictures and raw footage and things that I took of the Disney Skyliner along the way, of all the construction through Epcot and through Hollywood Studios and the Caribbean Beach and Pop Century and Art of Animation and Disney's Riviera. And it's just been a lot of fun so far. I did one episode a couple days ago. Everybody seemed to enjoy it, so I'm going to keep doing a few different episodes because there's so much footage. There's so many videos. I literally have, I think, over 200 and some videos uploaded to YouTube alone. And then on top of that, a bunch of raw footage and pictures and just all kinds of stuff that I accumulated over the past couple years. Did I save everything? Probably not. And I'm trying to piece together, things that I may have in one place and another place. And it's almost impossible to get it all organized. I'm not a very organized YouTuber by any means, but we're just having a lot of fun, and a lot of people have been, like I said, enjoying this, so we're going to continue on and just have fun. It's kind of neat for me to go back and react to some of the older footage, especially before I really started doing the full construction updates and just sort of getting into it and not knowing anything about the Skyliner, not knowing anything about the terminology or what any of the pieces and the parts, the equipment and how it works and where it was going to be, and just all kinds of craziness. I just, for so long, I was searching for the actual towers, before I really got into it. And then I found my first tower. I thought one of the towers was going to be this steel beam that they had put over at the International Gateway. And I was definitely wrong about that because the towers are, giant metal and concrete structures. And so it's been a lot of fun just kind of looking back at that and laughing at myself and figuring out how I learned things along the way. And I hope you guys are enjoying that as well. Do have some people coming on here, so it's always appreciated. HAQQAH, if I'm saying that correctly, or just letters, or if I pronounce that somehow. Haka, sorry if I said that. Let's see what's going on. Passport to the Parks. Friends, I like that. Cape 6, thank you so much for being here and for being a mod as well. I do appreciate that. Got 2 hours left at work, so this should make it fly by. I hope that it does. I love when people watch from work. It kind of takes their mind off what they should be doing and get them into the Disney vibe a little bit. I used to do that all the time as well, watch Disney videos while being at work, and I think a lot of us do that. So, Patrick, sorry about the snooze there for a minute in the beginning with the startup screen, but just getting things ready and let some people come on to the chat and everything. Jared, hey, how are you? Disney Nerd Herders, great to have you back here. Hashtag Gondola Godfather. Yeah, that's definitely stuck. The Gondola Godfather thing, that was always a lot of fun. Tony coming back in 2021, very, very cool. Hope you have an amazing time, and hopefully everything will get back to, I don't even know if it'll be a normal by then, but at least back to the standards that you can have fun, not wearing masks and worrying about, these craziness that's going on in the world around us. Car Key, welcome. Cameron and Teresa, always great to have you here. Happy Saturday to you as well. Cape 6, I found all my VHS Disney store wall art. I've got like 20 of them unframed. Yeah, all these back here, the old Disney store cells that they would give away with when you purchase the videos back then. I think there's like 25 of them or so that I have. But very cool. They're beautiful, and there's a bunch above my head as well. Street Cred, great to have you here. Hey Rob, and everyone joining. Everyone also from work, looking forward to chill and chat. Rakesh, welcome. Mark, welcome. Frank, Martin, Caleb, Joshua Hill, good afternoon to you as well. Ken Wilson, Rob, the reason why I'm so excited about getting back to Walt Disney World and riding the Skyliner someday. Absolutely. Hopefully the Skyliner will get back to a normal capacity. It'll be interesting to see how they actually run the Skyliner during this. Obviously a very confined space, and you may just ride alone. You may ride with just your immediate family. I don't know if they would put you in there with anybody that you didn't come with or not familiar with. If they do, they would have to literally put people on each corner opposite seats, and it'll be interesting to see how they do that. It'll probably be a lot of single riders or family riders, and hopefully you won't have massive crowds riding it, so they'll be able to figure that out for sure. Let's see, Mark, what did you used to do? Oh, I was a communications director for an EMS service, so I ran the dispatch center and all the communications and everything for an ambulance service back in Ohio. I did that for like 23 years. So all this stuff that's going on in the world now, I totally understand the behind the scenes working with all the dispatchers and listening to the craziness that they've been going through. It's a very, very difficult job and stressful job to deal with, coordinating all that stuff. And I did that for a very long time. So I had a lot of fun doing that as well. Benjamin Haley, always great to have you here. Jamie, hey Rob, good thing I don't have to work, so I can be here for your live chat. Thank you so much. Always love having you here. Darren, hey Rob, good to have you back. Absolutely. Disney Nerd Herders, any word about the gondola expansion to the other parks and resorts? We talked about that a little bit. And you know what? In fact, I'm putting together a little video about what I think the expansion would be, and maybe I could show you a little clip of that. I put together a little animation to what I think. You know what? Let me give me 1 second. Let me dig that up here for a second if I can find it. Okay, let me get here. This may take me a second, but it'll give you a little bit of an idea of what I think a phase 2 might look like. I just have to remember where I put it. It's not in here. Oh, I'm looking in the wrong spot. I have to go like 7 layers deep to find this stuff. So let's see, Disney Skyliner. Sorry, somebody who is a professional probably would have had this together by now. Okay, so give me 1 second to load this up. Just a little off topic for this video, but I'll show this to you real quick. Hey, Benjamin Haley, thank you so much. $4.99 super chat from Benjamin. Always a good day to see a live chat. Thanks, Rob. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that very much. But let me jump over here. And this is a map to where I think a phase 2 would mostly take place. Disney had talked about definitely wanting to expand over to the Animal Kingdom, which is up in your top left corner, which I'm actually currently covering up, and then over to Disney Springs as well. I would believe the best case scenario would be for them to expand over towards the Animal Kingdom first, just because major theme park, there's only one mode of transportation in and out of there right now, which makes it difficult. Plus you have a lot of large excuse me, let me mute this real quick. Sorry about that, guys. You have a lot of large resort areas that are over there as well. You have the All-Stars, and then also Coronado Springs. So let me play you this real quick of what I think would actually happen. So starting over there at Pop Century and Art of Animation, then you have the Disney's All-Star Resorts, all 3 of them. Blizzard Beach is there as well. Coronado Springs, and then the Animal Kingdom. So those are the core areas that I think the Disney Skyliner would most benefit right now. And if you start over at Pop Century and Art of Animation, again, you already have the the station there. So my thought would be, and let me load up another video here so I can animate this a little better. So my initial thought would be coming out of the Art of Animation. So you have the Skyliner that's already going to the north up to the Caribbean beach. So my thought would be to come on the opposite side of Hourglass Lake, come down towards Osceola Parkway there. That would expand over to the All-Star Resorts. And right there you put a substation or a branching station like the Caribbean Beach has. So you'd be able to branch out to different areas from there. So imagine a Caribbean Beach station sitting right there in the front of the All-Star Resorts. From there you can go up to Blizzard Beach and then through to Disney's Coronado Springs. What I also think would be a good idea is from that station is to have some little puddle jumps that would go to the All-Star Sports, the All-Star Music, and the All-Star Movies. So these would be little pass-through stations that would be in front of each one of the main lobbies there. So because that's a really big resort, you couldn't walk from, say, the All-Star Movies all the way at the south there, all the way up to where the main station would be in the front. And I, just in looking at the area, trying to figure out where the best locations would be as far as land-wise and things like that. I mean, Disney can do anything; they could put it anywhere, I guess. But just of what's existing there now, at the northern end of the parking lot, there's a clearing. And when I was going to make this entire video, and I have footage from the resorts and things like that, and where the good locations for all this would be. But you could puddle jump from each one of the resorts and take it all the way to the main station there, and then you could branch off and head up to Blizzard Beach as a pass-through, similar to what they have at the Riviera, and then all the way up to Coronado Springs where it would end. And then from there, again, you would branch over to the Animal Kingdom. So ultimately, this would link up all of these resorts, and it would link up to the actual Skyliner line itself right now, because all you would have to do is, from the Caribbean Beach, you'd come down to the Pop Century and Art of Animation station. You'd simply walk across the disembark, walk across the bridge, and get on the new station there, and all of this would link up to it as well. So you would incorporate Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, and Epcot, Caribbean Beach, the Riviera, Art of Animation, Pop Century, the All-Stars, Coronado Springs, Blizzard Beach. All of those areas could be linked just with the existing infrastructure that they already have in place. So that's just my little idea. I can expand on that further, but I think this would definitely be a phase 2 opportunity here, and then beyond that, a phase 3 over to Disney Springs. Disney Springs, I just don't think has the volume to warrant going over there anytime soon. But eventually, I think you're going to see the Skyliner linking up basically everything on Disney property. It's a very easy and more economical way to do things. So hopefully that answered the question. Totally got off topic of what we were doing here today, but it's always a lot of fun. Tim, hey, from Ohio, high 80s there in Ohio. Very, very cool. It's been raining all day here. It's been raining all week here at in Florida, Central Florida, and it's just been a bummer because I know Universal has opened, and just trying to get out to do whatever you can, but it's literally been raining every day, and it's been miserable, and it's raining again now outside. So it's kind of nice just to be inside to talk about some of these videos and some things from Disney past here. Frank, greetings, hoping to go in December. That would be awesome. I hope you definitely get to come down. Peggy, thank you. I'm excited to come back in September. Our Disney Magic, hey Rob, great series with the history of the Skyliner and way ahead. Absolutely, I thought this would be a lot of fun to do. I'm having fun doing it, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. Joe Willett, great to have you back here, my friend. You are coming July 15th. Very cool. So it'll just be opening then. It'd be great to hook up with you somewhere. Hook up within 6 feet. Disney Nerd Herders love that idea. Call the Bobs and get that started up. Yes, I will relay that to the Bobs. I'll even bring Michael Bolton into the conversation, and we'll get that done. Jeffrey, good afternoon from Utah. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for being here. Ciro, hey Rob, I missed watching your live streams where you gave us the Skyliner updates. It was a fun time. All right, so let's get into this then. Let me shut this down here real quick, and let me go back to some of the older footage that I have. Okay, the first videos that we did, we looked at all the way back to like January and February of 2018 is where I just barely started getting into it. And again, just to kind of preface this a little bit, I had just got done with a surgery and was just sort of getting back to Disney and just hearing little snippets about the Skyliner. Nobody had really known much about it. At that point, they had barely just touched the surface of doing some things. And I was doing some construction updates, through Caribbean Beach especially, and then started seeing some of the Skyliner stuff happening there. I think one of the towers had gone up and they just did the bare bones of the station there. So I sort of incorporated it into my construction update with Caribbean Beach, because they were doing all kinds of construction there. They were doing Old Port Royale and redoing all the areas there, and the Riviera had just started. So just a lot of cool stuff going on, but there really wasn't much about the Skyliner. So I was kind of searching around trying to find these things. I really didn't know where it was going and what was happening. So after searching around, I found another tower over at Pop Century and Art of Animation, and it was there I kind of sparked my interest, like, wow, this is really going to be something cool. And again, didn't know anything about it and just started following it around bit by bit, little by little, and finally just really started getting into it and really starting to appreciate some of the workings behind it and the construction, and learning more and more about it. So that was, again, early January, February. We kind of worked our way up through like April and May of 2018. And I think we're going to start back here. And again, I was just doing little snippets. So this would actually be, I think, one of my actual full Skyliner updates that I did. I think this was the very first Disney Skyliner full update that I did, solely dedicated to the Skyliner. So let me cue this up. Sometimes it takes a second. Let me actually get my earphone in here so I can hear it with you guys. Okay, so there's me, looking goofy as ever. So I am starting, I think this was at the International Gateway where I actually filmed this intro, and then I start at Pop Century and Art of Animation and go to different resorts. And if you haven't subscribed here on YouTube, I really appreciate you doing that, and definitely drop a like for me. It always helps to support the channel and what I'm doing here. So let's get going and let's take a look at the Disney Skyliner. Okay, so we are starting here at Disney's Pop Century and Art of Animation, and right now I'm standing on the bridge which connects both resorts over Hourglass Lake. And here's the construction wall, and behind it... So it's kind of funny, this banner that you see here was actually up on eBay. This is the actual banner that was being sold on eBay, and my buddy Kevin on here was actually trying to win this for me. He really aggressively went after that, and I still appreciate him trying that. It would have been really cool. Didn't ultimately win it. It's probably hanging in someone else's garage right now, but somebody did acquire this and auctioned it off on eBay, which I thought was really kind of a neat thing. This thing is huge too. This sat on the fence for 2 years. This very banner here is the station that's currently being built for both resorts here. This is sort of one of the beginning points for the Skyliner. What I'll do is I'll kind of go over a little bit about what the Skyliner and talk about and where it's going to go. What the Skyliner is. This is just an overview of what the station. A little bit through that. So basically, I think we're all pretty familiar with this by now, where it was going Caribbean Beach, through the Riviera, up into Epcot, Disney's Hollywood Studios, and then Art of Animation and Pop Century. For so long, I would do this because nobody knew. Disney wasn't releasing anything. You know, it's not like there was a whole lot of information, and there was like no one out there doing stuff on the Disney Skyliner. It didn't really start to catch traction. You know, a lot of my videos got out there and you know, seeing the construction, and then it just started to become a little more buzzy for people. But again, nobody was kind of doing this at the time, so kind of take a little pride in bringing a lot of this to the limelight and sharing it. I mean, everybody would do, you know, every once in a while they'd, you know, talk a snippet of it, but then I really started going like really in depth because it just got me excited, and I love learning about it and everything.
It's going to be suspended on wires, cables that will
again, before I knew anything, is suspended on wires.
Towers that are positioned all over Disney property now, and they'll go to different various stations at a couple different resorts and 2 of the Disney theme parks. So we'll get started here. Right now we are at Disney's Art of Animation.
So let me jump ahead a little bit here.
A better look and see
behind
if you can see
the wall
any structure.
Was
all right, guys,
the construction.
We're through the clearing in the trees here. It's about the best view we're going to get. Again, they are just working on the foundation. It doesn't look like they have any steel beams up or any of the structure itself. So they're working hard. Obviously, they have to make sure this is secure in the water and make sure the foundation is set. So I know that there's definitely some stations at a couple of the parks and the other resorts as well. So we will definitely.
And again, we had talked about this. This station especially took a very long time to figure out because they were doing the foundation in the water. So the other stations already had some vertical height to them. Some of the steel beams and some of the skeleton work was done. But this one, the foundation took forever to do because they were obviously building it literally all underwater, and everything had to be stabilized, and so they didn't go vertical on this for quite a while. Joe, thank you so much, Joe Willett. $50 super chat. That is very, very generous as always, my friend. I appreciate that. Stay safe, and I'll see you in July. Definitely looking forward to that. I loved our last visit, and can't wait for you guys to come down in July as well. Hopefully, you know, we'll see what it's going to be like. It's going to be a different world when you get here for sure, but I hope you do have a great time and a safe time. Again, much appreciated, and love your company when you're here. So that is awesome. Thank you again. I got some other questions here. Let me just pause real quick. I try to keep up with the comments as best as I can. Hey, John. John Enninger, welcome. Good afternoon. Still excited to see you. You live here as I want. Sorry, sometimes I can't read these very well. Still excited to see you live here as I was the first time I found your page. Yeah, absolutely. And that was cool running into you as well. You and your wife, that was a lot of fun. Buckeye Ken, great to have me back. Thank you so much. Great to have you here. G. Wilson, good to have you here. David, hey, welcome. David Cantrell, David Parks. Will the Skyliners be at Saratoga? Excuse me. That I would believe would be more of a phase 3 once they venture over towards Disney Springs, because that's all part of the Springs area. You would have the Saratoga Springs, you would have Old Key West, and you would have the Port Orleans area over there. So if they were to incorporate branching off from there, is where you would see those resorts linked in. Hey Keith, amazing how fast time goes. Rob, we've hardly missed a show since you started following the Skyliner building updates, as was fascinated by the construction. Enjoy the recaps. Yeah, this really just got to be a lot of fun, again, learning about it. And, you know, a lot of you guys have stuck with me all through this, and it's very cool that you're still here. You know, we learned this together, and whatever information I would find, I would pass along to you guys. Street Cred, we rode the Skyliner for the first time during Halloween last year. Did a vlog about it, and I cried because of what the Skyliner means to me and the memories. D-Land with my dad, then to ride the Skyliner with my son. That is awesome. That is a really great story. Thank you for sharing that. Car Key, I was at Pop in July 2019 and loved watching the empty gondolas over Hourglass Lake because of my videos. Very cool. And I would always talk about the beautiful Hourglass Lake is the best place to see them, just because it's so gorgeous there and they reflect off the water. So many cool views there. Street Cred, there was a Skyliner at Disneyland when I was a kid. One of my fondest memories was with my dad riding it in the People Mover. Then to go to Walt Disney World, ride the Skyliner with my son is emotional. Yeah, isn't that great how, over the years they had the original Skyway. And again, we'll take a look here. Let me bring this down. Right here you can see the original kind of progression there. You have the original Skyway, and then from the 50s, and then the 60s right there in the middle, and then the Skyliner. The two on the left were, the original gondolas that rode over Disneyland and Walt Disney World, and then to sort of merge into the current Skyliner system in 2019 was just pretty amazing. The two on the left there were made by the Von Roll company, and then Von Roll was actually incorporated into Doppelmayr back in the 90s, and so Doppelmayr built the Skyliner. And it's just very cool because you sort of have that Von Roll history of the old Skyway sort of merged into the Disney Skyliner itself. So I always love talking about that and sharing that with everybody as well. But let me get back to watching some of this video here. It's kind of funny because I would always, in the beginning, just stay in this one little area by the Art of Animation. I would eventually start going around and figuring out that there was a really awesome view on the other side, over on the Pop Century side. Because I always thought, oh, this is, the trees are in the way and you can't really see it. And then I figured out, well, if I take a walk around Hourglass Lake, there's so many better views. So I would get better as time would go by to figure out how to do these updates and just have a lot of fun with it. So
definitely see some station progress, but this one does not look like it has much as far as vertical progress. Must be a lot of foundation issues here, so they've been working for quite a while on this. Sorry, there is a little construction noise behind me as well. They have this fenced off here. They're doing some sort of work behind me here, behind this fence. Nothing related to the Skyliner, just hotel itself. Little different angle here. You can see this is where the gondolas are going to leave the station. You're going to travel up and over Hourglass Lake, which is going to be just a beautiful view. I'm assuming that there will be more.
And again, there is that view of Hourglass Lake. They have not built the towers as of yet. They would soon build the concrete foundations that go in the water, and then the two towers that are in the water itself, and then the third tower that's just right on the edge of the lake down there where that crane is. In fact, I believe that's some of the construction they're starting down there. There was a barge that sat at the end of the lake that all the storage for the equipment, everything was in the parking lot down at the end of the lake. And then they would bring things into that barge and they would boat the construction materials back and forth across the lake. But eventually they would make those towers where those wooden pillars are in the water. That was the initial areas to where they would start constructing those towers.
Of the towers in the lake here, it's probably what those pillars are for.
So we'll jump ahead a little bit here to the Caribbean beach as well.
You're coming in this direction.
A little too far there.
All the way up to the Caribbean beach station. And this is also going to be one of your main transfer hubs to get over to the...
So when we looked at this on the past video, they had just did the center piece here. They were just starting the skeleton work. And that was about a month prior to this video. So they had branched off to the left and the right, and they were just working on the line going over to, or the area going over to Hollywood Studios as well. So just all this, the steel construction, the steel skeleton going up, but they were moving pretty quick on this station as far as getting it set up. And then it took a while just to get the foundations laid and the roof done and all that kind of stuff too. So David Cantrell, I appreciate the super chat, $5 super chat. Hey Rob, glad to see you showing videos, especially on the Skyliner. Miss riding the Skyliner. Yeah, I think a lot of us do for sure. This is really a lot of fun going back and just seeing it and hopefully being able to ride it here in the near future.
Riviera and over to Hollywood Studios. So you can see right in the center here is where you would have your transfer that would go in the opposite direction to go across to Hollywood Studios. So right now, you're coming in this direction, coming from Pop Century and Art of Animation into the station right here. and you can continue along the track and out into the Caribbean beach through Jamaica and Aruba over to the Riviera Resort, or you can transfer over to the opposite direction and head across the trees over to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Get you guys a better look at the transfer hub to Hollywood Studios there.
It's amazing to see it now. All those trees are still
It's gonna be amazing.
there on the edge of the lake. Those have been all
really
cleared.
do a lot of work on these stations to make sure that they are incorporated into each resort as far as aesthetically. So that's what's going to take so long is the building of these stations. Like I said, the towers pretty much are done. So it's these stations that's going to delay the timeline. So again, like I said, you'll be coming
It's kind of funny.
down.
I thought the delay of the timeline would be the construction of the stations, which they did take an awful long time to do that, but the testing is what took so long. I mean, they got everything up and running, and just the testing was months and months and months, which obviously you have to do. You have to make sure this is more safe than anything. I mean, this is a ton of people riding this, and it's a huge undertaking, especially on Disney property. It's all eyes are on this thing. So a lot of the construction was done on the stations, but once they got it up and running, the testing went on and on and on for quite a long time. Cape 6, do you think that Disney is holding any future plans for announcement on their D23 Expo in 2021? Honestly, just want a fifth park to start construction. Yeah, we'd assumed at the last D23 they might mention something, but they held off, kind of uneventful as far as the last D23. I would hope at the next D23 they would make some announcements for a further phase for the Skyliner. Who knows what's been set back, or because of the pandemic and everything, what if it's been set back for any sort of a timeline. We'll never know, but hopefully they do have some things that they can announce at D23 or even prior to that. Transportation they may just announce along the way and save the fifth park. We've all been wanting that for years and years and years. I got a lot of ideas on the fifth park as well, where that would go and how eventually that would become a huge centerpiece for the Skyliner as well. The Skyliner could really become a central hub for the fifth park, and where a fifth park would actually be located, and branching into the Transportation and Ticket Center and to Disney Springs at that point. So I think the fifth park has to happen before you see a phase 3 branching off into various areas with the Skyliner, because I would think that they would make a pretty significant station, Skyliner station, where I think they would put the fifth park at. And it's all speculation. I mean, who knows for sure what'll happen or when things will happen.
On the Skyliner path here into the Caribbean station, you'll cross over.
So we'll jump ahead a little bit. I think we head down towards
at the Caribbean beach. You can see the base of it is sitting in Jamaica. Whether or not they're going to do some landscaping, some other things around it, I would hope so. There is no fence, but you have the tower that goes straight up, and eventually you're going to have the.
It is definitely the highest point for the Skyliner over Caribbean Beach.
Overhead. This is also in relation to the bridge that heads over to Centertown. Just give you an idea of where we're at.
Jump ahead a little bit to, I think we go to the Riviera.
Again, everything is behind the green fence for construction.
Look at me taking the time to put the music in there. Eventually I was doing these updates like every day, or close to it, and I was just shooting a lot of footage and just sending it off on my phone just to get it out there. Caribbean Beach is so beautiful though. Got some more people coming on here. Peggy, I'm a Disney kid and have been able to ride all three. It was just a joy to ride the Skyliner the first day. So you rode, I'm just a Disney kid, have been able to ride all three. So you rode all three, the Skyways and the Disney Skyliner, is that what you're saying? That's pretty awesome if you got the opportunity to do that. I rode the Skyway at Walt Disney World. Never obviously rode the real old ones in the 50s and 60s, but if you got a chance to do that, that's pretty amazing. Hey, the Bomo. Thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you. Matt, good afternoon. Philip, Joseph, great to have you here. Just got out of work. Very, very cool. The Bomo, am I going to D23? I would love to finally go to a D23. I've never been to one. It's definitely something I would love to start planning to try to get there. Zero, the fifth park will come sooner or later, especially now that Universal building the Epic third park. I expect the fifth park between 2025 and 2030. That would sound like a pretty good timeline. The Epic park has actually been delayed from what I've heard as well, so maybe Disney will have a little time to get on their heels. I would really love to see a fifth park. For sure, I think we all would. Zippity Doodad, awesome to have you here. Haven't seen you in a while, so it's awesome to have you back here, my friend. And again, thank you for being a moderator as well. I do appreciate that very much. Street Cred, happy Saturday. Zero, happy Saturday. Everybody's saying happy Saturday. It's just always a lot of fun when we can talk about Disney. Let me see if I can jump ahead and see the Riviera. Did I get anything from the Riviera here? I think I just showed a little bit of it. Again, my updates got a lot better as time would go along. I would find different places to, to see things and better views. So it's just a lot of fun trying to figure that out along the way. I think I do head over to the Boardwalk parking lot next.
Oh, it's definitely coming along.
Yeah, there's the Riviera. So I would just to get this wide shot of the Riviera. Eventually I would head over to Aruba because you can really see a lot of stuff from inside Aruba there.
Give you an idea, we'll circle around here. This is the main pool area at the Caribbean Beach, and this is Centertown that's under construction.
Okay, so now I'm in the parking lot over at Disney's Boardwalk, and we're going to take a look at where the towers are going to go through here. They're coming from over at the Riviera Resort. They'll head down the road a little bit and kind of make a turn here at a little turnstile station that they're building and head towards International Gateway at Epcot. But they do cut through the parking lot here, so let's take a look.
So you can see down in the distance here where the towers come down the street, and they come to this little intersection right here that they're building.
It's weird to see the towers without the cables.
Where the gondola will make a right-hand turn or left-hand turn depending on which direction you're going.
So just the initial foundation for the 90-degree turn there in the parking lot.
Lead to the back entrance of Epcot, which is at the International Gateway. See a little different angle here. This is where the turnstile will be. Down the tower, all the way down the parking lot here. You can see the different towers lined up.
So we jump over to the International Gateway. Always love riding the friendship boat in there. Look at that International Gateway, just the steel skeleton going up there.
Okay, guys, we're now approaching the Gateway dock here at Epcot.
So here we have where the gondolas will be entering towards the International Gateway. Be coming in from that Boardwalk parking lot.
Barely anything with Ratatouille as well. I think on the way out I actually show a little bit of Ratatouille, but they had just started to build the steel structure for Ratatouille behind the France Pavilion there.
And coming here right behind France, right over top of the boat dock. And we'll see right behind here, they would enter into the station that's being built.
So I'm very curious to know, once the station is built here for International Gateway, if they'll do any expansion on the actual gate ticket access behind us here, because it's a very small entrance and you're going to get a lot more people back here. So hopefully they might add another gate, ticket gate, so more people can get through.
It's kind of, let me pull something up here real quick. I want to compare something. I'm going to pull a picture up once I find it. Just give me 1 second. So right there is the first steel pillar that went up, and that was 90 feet right there. That is the first picture that I remember taking, and it was just a steel girder that they put up, and they had eventually removed that. I think it was just for to survey the scene, but you can see a little bit of the difference there. That beam was never used. They put it up and then they took it down. You can see it's not incorporated there at all. But then they had also put up, let me find this here. They put up these 4 beams, which I thought was going to be part of the original station as well. But those beams were not part of the station either. So I always look back at this and was just kind of confused of what these beams were actually there for. If they were just used for just some sort of markers or to adjust heights or test heights or anything. But you can see those beams are not any part of that structure right now. So they were put up and they were removed. Just interesting. This was back in February of 2018 when these beams were up. And then we're in July. So those beams have definitely been removed, and this steel structure was going up in its place. So I just always think about that. Let's see, Cape 6 asking, so will your first roller coaster live stream be coming in weeks? Yeah, I still want to do that. That is definitely on my list of something that I want to do. I want to live stream my first time ever riding a roller coaster, and I've been talking about it forever, I know. But now it makes me a little leery just riding rides or riding a roller coaster during all this that's going on right now. I know they're going to have spacing, like, every other seat or row or whatever. But yeah, just the anxiety of riding the roller coaster and then the pandemic stuff on top of that. And I don't know, it make it a lot more difficult. So we'll have to see how that sort of pans out with how rides are going to operate and, seeing how spacing and stuff is going to go. But I definitely do want to do that. I think it would be just something, for me to look back on and say, this is the first time. I've never ridden a roller coaster in my life. If you follow me, you know that. And it's always been something I've been nervous about. And I think it would be really fun just to live stream actually doing the roller coaster the first time. And I think it'll be the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So hopefully I won't, pass out or puke on anybody behind me. That wouldn't be good. But I think I'm just making it into more of a big deal than it is, and just have to get over it and do it. I'm probably going to love them after I do it, but who knows. Karki rode the Skyway when I was 6 and will ride the Skyliner when I'm 56. See, those are awesome stories. I love how people, do that. You rode it with your family when you were a kid back in the day, and now the Skyliner you're riding now. Completely different experience. The Skyway was open, it would shake around and it would sway back and forth, and it was just completely different than what they have now, obviously, with the Skyliner. The Skyliner is a beautiful, enclosed, very peaceful, very smooth, serene ride. They both have their characteristics and their nostalgia. The Skyway, was always beloved by everybody, but the Skyliner is definitely a different experience from what you'll remember. Let's see, Johan, am I the only one with lags? I may lag every once in a while as my video player loads, because it just puts a lot of pressure on my PC itself. So I do apologize for that. If you're seeing any lag, it's probably not the live stream lagging. It's as my computer loads video footage and things like that. So, Johan, I remember when we followed the construction and we could feel like the extension or the... Sorry, you're jumping around here. I just lost you, I'm sorry. I guess following the construction. Sorry if I missed your comment. I apologize for that. Let's see, the Bomo 2.5 inches steel rope. Got that from the Gondola schematic T-shirt. Yeah, I'll wear the schematic one next time. That's a lot of people's favorite. It's the gondola with all the schematics on it. So let me.
But we'll see as that time comes.
It's going to be really impressive to see these gondolas. They're going to be.
We definitely want to watch some video
as they're entering. I mean, they're literally going to be right above the boat dock and pretty much right above your head here as it travels over into the station. So it's going to be really neat to see. Really impressive back here in the International Gateway.
Okay, time to jump back on the boat, and we'll head over to Hollywood Studios and take a look at the parking lot there and the progress that they've made on their station.
It's really great now that you can actually jump on the Skyliner and head to Hollywood Studios, as well as the friendship boats. More music. Look, I was really into editing back then.
Looks like we'll get a little landscaping around the towers as well. I hope that they, in all the resorts and here at the parks, that they do a lot of landscaping and try to make these towers.
It's kind of funny they brought those trees in,
especially over at the Caribbean beach.
And they did the landscaping around there. I think eventually just to pull a lot of that to build the crepe restaurant. I think the crepe restaurant is right where that truck is.
A little better. I'm glad to see they're doing the landscaping here. Got a cool view of the station as we were coming into Epcot, so we get a nice view of the towers as we're leaving here. And we're also going to be able to see Ratatouille that's being built behind France.
There's Ratatouille. Just barely a skeleton back there. So, of course, beautiful views. Heading over to Hollywood Studios. And they had just started building the bus stations. And now they have the roof on the station. They actually did that pretty quick. They got the roof on it pretty quick. The first videos that I had just had the steel structure and the concrete pillars and everything.
Down the towers towards the parking lot, and that'll take you down towards the Caribbean Beach Station.
All right, so here we are. We are off the boat. Just got off the boat behind me there, and we're at the entrance of Hollywood Studios. You can see the awesome Skyliner behind me. It's taking
expansion and some changes to the entrance here.
All right, so those are the bus depots that are just started construction back there, which was a really great thing that they did for Hollywood Studios. Those bus stations are really nice now over there. Currently, they were just over to the right of the Skyliner station. We might see them.
The current bus station, which is right over here, just to the right of the Skyliner, is going to kind of expand into some more security, just a little wider entrance area, and this structure that they're building to the left of the Skyliner here is all going to be new kind of bus station area. So that's what I'm being told. Maybe something more similar to what the Animal Kingdom has, sort of a longer bus area. So we'll see as it progresses along here. This is all supposed to be done by 2019. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be cool, new front entrance, new parking lot, new Skyliner, everything at Hollywood Studios. So here's the other side of the Skyliner. You can see this is the current bus stop area. Kind of expands all the way around here.
Does anybody remember those old bus stops? They were just the little
stays the
little
way it
overhangs
is.
there, basically.
They're going to take some of these stops away and extend some of the security. Make this a little easier to get off the Skyliner. These may go, these stops here. And again, on the other side of the building there, they're building a structure which should be more bus stations. So we'll see. Now the towers themselves, I do have another video that I did previously. I'll put a link up in the corner and down in the description for it. Shows you a little closer to the towers as they expand down the parking lot there. Didn't make that walk today, just wanted to get an overall view of the station and everything. But definitely check out that link. It's really cool to see the towers up close and a little further down towards the clearing in the woods there.
All right, guys, so that wraps it up here at Hollywood Studios, and for the entire
So yeah, that is definitely pretty cool to go back and see. That was the first full Skyliner update that I had put together. Up until that point, it was just incorporating different construction updates through the resorts and things like that, and throwing the Skyliner in there. But I think at this point, I said this really interests me. Really having a lot of fun with this, so I just started dedicating a lot of time to the Skyliner itself. So as we progress on here a little bit, you'll see just more in depth on the Skyliner and how I would start to learn more about the Skyliner. You know, people would start educating me, and you know, I'd meet a lot of great people and try to figure out how this thing actually runs and works, and to share that with you guys as well. Hey, the Bomo $10 super chat. Thank you so very, very much. Save the clock tower. Back to the Future. Hashtag Rob needs big fast CPU. Yeah, I just updated my CPU to a little better speed. I'm actually running my DSLR is my webcam. One of the reasons that I wasn't on streaming from my house for quite a while is I never had an actual webcam. I didn't do a whole lot of streaming from home. It was always out and about. And where we moved here, my cell service is really not that great. So when I try to live stream from my phone here at the house, it is just completely a dead signal. And then I really didn't have great anything to really use for a webcam. So, and if you tried to purchase a webcam, I don't know if you know this or not, but after the pandemic started and everybody was at home, webcams have just gone through the roof. If you could find one, it was outrageously expensive. They were being charged 2, 3, 4 times the amount for a webcam. And it was just literally impossible to find them because everybody needed one. Everybody wanted one for jobs and for school and for things like that. So webcams went through the roof. So finally was able to get a cam link to hook my DSLR up to my computer, but the processing power that took I didn't have at the time, so I had to upgrade processing power, and it's just a lot of craziness just trying to get online. It was so difficult just to get online with you guys, and now that I'm finally here, it's, you know, it feels really good, and I got a pretty nice setup. But this running the DSLR gives you a nice picture. It's really, you know, great to have, but it's very CPU intensive. So, you know, if you try to open up, you know, a video player or something, it delays it a little bit. So work with what you got. You know, we'll upgrade as we go. But thank you so much for the BOMO. Very much appreciated, obviously, the super chat. Johanna, was amazing when I ride on the Skyliner. I thought how much we followed its construction and was so glad to be there. Took the line from Hollywood Studios. Yeah, it's a great starter line, I think, from Hollywood Studios for the first ride. You can park there in the parking lot, and then you can head over to Caribbean Beach and go wherever you want from there. You know, if you're nervous about riding it, I always say that the Caribbean Beach ride is the most difficult if you're nervous. Definitely don't start on that one because you go straight, you know, it's up and you're up high for a majority of the trip. And the Hollywood Studios one starts a little lower and just gradually climbs, and it's a good start. Or if you have the opportunity to ride from Pop Center and Art of Animation first, that is definitely the best one because it's low throughout most of the journey, and it's over the water, and it's really pretty, but it's a very low, easy ride for a starter ride. Jennifer wore my Skyliner t-shirt yesterday in memory. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. The awesome Passport to the Park shirts here. There's a bunch of them, bunch of different ones. Modeling Disney created these designs and everything. So definitely check him out at modelingdisney.com. Be sure to check out his stuff. He's a great guy, great designer of things, and was really awesome that he came up with a lot of these designs and stuff for the gondolas and Passport to the Parks and things like that. So a lot of fun. All right, so we're going to jump around here. Again, we are in July of 2018, so let me see how far we can advance here. Just give me a moment to load some things up. Okay, so that was July 25th of 2018. Then we jump ahead to October 5th of 2018. Just let me check my raw footage. I always like to compare if I have any actual raw footage based on the videos that I have online. So I like to share some of that raw stuff too. It's a lot of fun to go back and check that out. All right, let me check this. Looks like I didn't keep any of the raw from this October video, so we'll just take a look at it. So this is October of 2018, so from July to October, and I believe this is another full update. And I kind of went along the same path here as I would go and I would talk about the map and, you know, tell everybody about the Skyliner, because again, this was all new to people. People really didn't know where it was going, where it was coming from, how it operated, and I was learning along the way too. So we'll see. Again, I'm talking about the map. And finally, we have some of the vertical work that had been done. So I hadn't been there in a couple months. I was even kind of shocked myself. Yeah, that's the compression tower that's right as you come out of the station. So yeah, they just started laying some of the concrete foundation there on that center tower.
Hourglass Lake between
Sorry, I didn't have the desktop
Animation and
audio
Pop
on
Century.
there.
You can see the bridge goes.
You should be able to hear the video
right
now.
down
I apologize for that.
So that's where you'll enter and exit.
Okay guys, right now I'm over in Caribbean Beach and I'm standing in Trinidad South. We'll take a look at the Skyliner station behind me, some of the Skyliner towers, and some of the other things that
so
are
again, I
going
haven't, when I was at Pop Century and Art of Animation, I still didn't go on the Pop Century side where you can really get great views of the station over there. Eventually I would get on there and I would go up around, you know, the second and third floors of the buildings themselves, and you can really get some great views down onto the station and over the water and everything. So
again, I'm in Trinidad South. We'll
the
get some
evolution
footage
of
here, and then also
videos
up on
would
top
get a
of
lot
the
better as
bridge
we go
between
along.
Trinidad North and South. It's a lot going on here. The station is just amazing behind me, so let's take a look.
So here is the
Cape 6,
Caribbean
all the
Beach
Zoom meetings
Skyliner
with the webcams,
station.
exactly.
It's definitely going to be the biggest out of all the stations. We'll get a better view from the side up on the bridge. But
So
this
they're
thing is
putting a
just
roof on
massive.
there.
What we're seeing are the towers coming in from down at Art of Animation and Pop Century. So you'd be coming in your vehicle down these towers along the lake and into the Caribbean Beach station. So you'll enter from the side, or obviously you can exit as well, and you'd go down back towards Pop and Art of Animation. But say you're coming in, you'd enter into the station, and you'd have a couple choices. You can go across to Hollywood Studios, and you can see the towers leading to Hollywood Studios, or you can continue on and out the other side. Sorry, my fingers here. Out the other side and continue down towards the Riviera.
So it's kind of funny right there. I said that you had a couple different choices. You can go over to Hollywood Studios, which in my mind, I knew that you would have to, I believe, disembark there to do that because you were going in an opposite direction. But I said that you could continue through and go over to the Riviera and to Epcot at that point. So I didn't realize at that point that there would be, transfers within the station there to get to the other line as well. I think I was just assuming that it would go through the station somehow, and it was just one complete line that would go over to Riviera and Epcot. So again, something that I didn't know at the time and didn't realize at the time.
So this thing is really massive. It's going to look really cool once it's done, especially right here on the lake in Trinidad South. Really nice view. As I'm standing here, there's a little construction noise. You can hear some drilling and some of the backup alarms and things like that. But for the most part, if you're here in Trinidad South, it's really not that bothersome. Just really, really cool to look at. Now what I'm seeing here is new. They're actually leveling the ground here, which makes me think that they're going to have possibly maybe a bus turnaround here. This is interesting.
Look at that. Back in October of 2018, I started talking about that bus turnaround there. And that's exactly what they did. I saw them clearing that land, and in my mind, I was thinking, if I got to walk from like Old Port Royale or Martinique over to the Skyliner station here, that's a pretty good hike. So they're probably going to incorporate an internal station, part of the internal route that they do with the buses there at Caribbean Beach. So I saw them clearing that land, and I'm like, I wonder if they're going to do that. And that's exactly what they did. Finally it started catching on a year and a half later, and people started saying, oh, there's a bus station there. But yeah, they did put that bus terminal there. So that's pretty cool that I caught that far back. Let's see here. Bomo, I realize how much work all the hardware is to keep current. Yeah, with the computer stuff, it takes, once you have a system, it's completely out of date as soon as you turn it on. Pete Tier, welcome, my friend. Appreciate you being here, and again for being a moderator as well. Have you seen the Eiffel Tower elevator machine room tour on YouTube? Very Skyliner-y. I have not. So the Eiffel Tower elevator machine room tour. I will definitely check that out. That does sound pretty cool. Johan, does anyone know if the 1.61 gigawatt sign is still up or if it was temporary? That I'm not sure. I didn't see that sign. Not quite sure where that sign was. Is it 1.21 gigawatts?
Obviously, there's going to be some walking areas, and
yeah, all this in front landed up
spot
being walkways,
especially
and
inside the park here.
The entrance
there's
area.
Not really any walking,
and then the bus stop.
Paths that lead to it right now. Up from the bridge, it just sort of dead ends. There's no real walkway down the street. From Jamaica, it just dead ends. I do know that they are going to be cutting some pathways in over by Jamaica to cut across the street. But this looks like it's going to be sort of the main entrance area here. And I'm wondering if there will be a bus turnaround here. So you'd be able to use the internal shuttle here at Caribbean Beach to possibly get over to the Skyliner, get off the bus.
That's exactly what they did.
This is a little bit of a different angle, more of a side view. You can see the more of the size of the Skyliner station. I can see more of some of the earth that they're leveling over here. Again, I really think this is going to be some sort of an entrance, definitely a bus turnaround, some pedestrian walkways, things like that. But again, this is where you're exiting over here to leave and head in towards Jamaica and down towards the Riviera. and vice versa. You'd come
They
in from the
hadn't
side.
opened the new
So you're
entrance over
entering
there
and
either.
exiting from both
for
sides to
Caribbean
get to
Beach.
resorts, and in the middle you're crossing over to get to Hollywood Studios. Here we go with some of the green fence that we have up over by Jamaica. What they're actually doing behind here is cutting in the walkways. When I did my last construction update here, this wasn't blocked off and just the stakes were in the ground. And I kind of guessed that that's what they were going to do, is make pedestrian walkways to get through Jamaica and then cross over to the Skyliner station. So that's what they're doing behind the fence now. There's a little tractor back there kind of digging out the pathways. Okay, so here we are in the parking lot of Jamaica, and you can see one of the Jamaica towers that's going to lead in and out of the side of the Skyliner station. Now you can see really how massive this thing really is. You can see where the gondolas are going to be entering and exiting over here. Then you have this massive station area right here, which is just, I'm assuming, going to be all open. I don't know if they're going to have anything inside there, if it's just going to be a huge open area, or what's going to be going on. You're obviously going to have a lot of transferring going on between probably getting off, going through the resorts, and then
That's
heading
cool. That
over to
actually
Hollywood Studios.
turned out to be the transfer areas in there for maintenance, and then to transfer the gondolas out to the yard.
This thing is big. I'm not quite sure why it's as large as it is, but we're going to see once it's done what the capacity is and what's actually going to be inside. So again, there's the towers heading out towards Hollywood Studios, Skyliner station coming. It's kind of through some trees, but you can see the
so here we
station
started
itself.
finally
Again,
getting over to Aruba and getting some good shots
towers.
of the Riviera.
It'll be coming out, and that'll be heading towards Epcot. Then the rest of the station is behind the trees here. We'll move over a little bit. I think we can get a little bit better view so you can see the whole station, but just gives you an idea. This is the edge of Aruba, so it's right in between the hotel and Aruba. The hotel is actually just beyond this building here. Okay, a little bit more of a different angle here. You can see a little bit of the hotel there through the trees. A little more of the station. There is looks like a 90-degree angle that happens at this station, because you're coming in basically from the Caribbean Beach, coming in this way, and then out exiting towards Epcot. And there's another tower just beyond one of the Aruba buildings there. But there's going to be looks like a 90-degree turn that you'll be making at this station. All right, I promised you the really awesome view of this station, and here it is. There is the Riviera Hotel.
That's pretty wild.
And the full Skyliner station.
Just to see that all done now is just pretty amazing.
Got the whole roof on here. Looks like all the ground is being cleared away. The foundation's good. Looks like they're just doing, getting everything ready for the interior work. Looks like it'll probably be mostly open air, probably a little bit of a closed area in the center there. But the gondolas are going to be coming in and out from Epcot in this direction, and then coming in from Caribbean Beach in this direction here. But again, you're looking at a 90-degree turn right in the center. So you'll be able to, to get off there at the Riviera, to get on at the Riviera, and make your turn in either direction that you would like to go. And I don't know if we can see it from here.
And that was right. That's exactly the way it operates now.
You can just kind of see it over there in the distance. That's one of the larger towers heading out to Epcot.
All right, so now we've moved over to...
There's always a lot of speculation on, would you have to get off there, and would you have to board, to exit and then walk across and get on and get back on again. And it was definitely that transfer station. It's not a very common thing to transfer and have that turn style that the way Disney did it. So pretty cool the way it actually turned out, and just kind of neat to get that idea of it back in 2018.
To the Boardwalk Resort, and I am in the front parking lot, and behind me is one of the turn stations, or towers I guess you would call it. So basically the towers are coming in from the Riviera Resort, and they make another turn here at the parking lot at the Boardwalk, and they
at the Boardwalk Resort.
So they were the last time we looked at this, it was back in July of 2018, and they just had the concrete pillars up there, the foundation, and now they have a lot of the structure is being built on top of those pillars. So that's definitely pretty neat to see. Johan, the 1.21 gigawatts, I do remember that now. It was at Pop Century and Art of Animation. They have the the generator, the backup generator that was being built there, and I said something about if it operates on 1.21 gigawatts. So yeah, I do definitely remember that. That was pretty funny. So you guys been through all these videos with me. That is pretty awesome. The Bomo clean cut Rob. Yeah, definitely have a lot of changes through the year. Hats, no hats, short hair, longer hair. Still crazy hair now because still haven't been to get a haircut, and it's growing out like crazy. White beard, dark beard. You know, you put yourself on camera for years and years, and it's pretty amazing to see the different ways you look over time.
Get a little close up here so you can see sort of the gears and the pulleys and everything. Just another angle from the parking lot here. Get a little better view of the turn station.
Okay guys, here we are over at Epcot at the International Gateway, and behind me is the Skyliner station. It's really making some progress here. I remember when I first started covering the Skyliner, when they first put up the 90-foot pole, one single pole that they put over here at International
That's
Gateway.
That picture I showed you.
It's just the coolest thing. And now there's almost a full station behind me, so excited to take a look at this one. It's going to be beautiful, so let's go.
All right guys, so here it is, the International Gateway Skyliner station. You can see right there where the Skyliner tower is going to come right into the station. I try to raise it up a little bit here so you can see. A little hard to see over the fence, but you get an idea. It's going to be a fairly long station. Looks like some, area where you're going to exit over here. This would just be the covering to where the gondolas will come in and out, and then you'll just exit and head over to the International Gateway to the entrance over there. We'll go take a look real quick. Before we head over there, here are the towers coming in, and again, we were just at the boardwalk parking lot, so these towers are coming from that parking lot area.
Looks like they're starting to clear some of the land back there for Ratatouille, getting ready for the restaurant.
And there's the boat dock, and right into the Skyliner station. You can see, let me swing you back around here, that is the Ratatouille building back there that they're making for the Ratatouille ride behind France. That's going to be really awesome too. Okay, here we are on the other side of the station. Get a really nice shot of it over here. Again, you can see that is the just the covering to where the gondolas will go in and out, and then they're building the actual boarding, unloading station, loading and unloading station there. So it's definitely coming along. And then you see you'd exit and just head over to the entrance here, the International Gateway entrance. It's a very small entrance right now. I'm really hoping
that's all changed
they're going
as well.
to do some expansion with that area, because right now just trying to get in when there's boatloads of guests getting off is really a lot of people can funnel through there. So you're going to add the Skyliner station as well. This is really going to become a congested area, so I'm hoping that they're going to definitely open up some of the security and maybe add another gate or two over there.
Yeah, they definitely did. I was really hoping they would do that. They certainly opened that area up back there a little bit.
Skyliner towers. Get a great shot of Ratatouille.
There and see what's going on. So bear with me here.
Just chilling on the friendship boat.
Kind of obstructed by some of the trees, but just a little different view. It's going to be neat to see the gondolas from
It's
the
part of the
waterway
boardwalk
as well.
back there.
Being built. Right now the buses are fairly displaced because of all the construction with the Skyliner.
So they got the rooftops on top of the bus stations there. That's pretty cool.
A rather long walk from the current bus stations to the front entrance, but these will be the new bus stations here in the near future. Looks like they're going to be beautiful. They'll really blend into the look of all of Hollywood Studios right now. You can see some of the towers, the Skyliner towers there, and we're also going to see the Skyliner station here finally. Really looks like a whole lot of progress.
See that building right there, just to the left of the station? That is the new restroom area, and I believe that's all cast brake area. So they built a whole new structure for them for Skyliner, and I think bus goes in and out of there, and then the public restrooms are in that building as well. Dave C. Hey Rob, just joining. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate you being here. We're taking a ride back through history, seeing all the Skyliner construction footage. Just having a lot of fun going back and seeing what was and now, eventually what would be and what is now. So it's kind of fun doing that. Johan, I wonder if anyone would survive an 88 mile per hour ride on the Skyliner. Yeah, if they get that thing up to 88 miles per hour, hang on tight. I don't think I would ride it at 88 miles an hour. That would be pretty crazy. You might make a time riff doing that for sure. Cape 6, do you think Bob Chapek is going to continue Disney's recent success in acquisitions of successful brands, or do you think they will go back to more original content? I think the big one obviously was 20th Century Fox. Bob Iger, I think that was his forte of having those relationships and securing those major brands in order to get the Disney media library as huge as it is now. And I think those were his goals. I think Lucasfilm and 20th Century Fox were his two major goals, and he accomplished that. So he's turning it over to Bob Chapek, and I think Bob is more of a parks guy. So I think Bob's forte, Bob Chapek, is going to be concentrating on using all of those new properties to finally incorporate it into the Disney parks. So Iger accumulated all of that, and now Chapek can take that and run with it and incorporate it into new parks all over the world, and maybe get that fifth gate. So it's kind of an evolution thing, to what their forte is, what Bob Iger accomplished, and now Bob Chapek. I don't think he's going to go out and aggressively pursue, the big names and the big companies like Bob Iger did. I think he's going to take this and really build the infrastructure up as far as Disney parks. And yeah, definitely some new Disney material. Now that they have these companies, those companies can hopefully put out some better material instead of going back and trying to remake everything that Disney's already done. I would really love for them to use more of the 20th Century Fox stuff, especially moving forward into a new park. I would love to see them branch out of what they currently have with the Disney library and use a lot of that 20th Century Fox stuff and incorporate that into a park, just to have something different. Every park you go to doesn't have to be all Disney, all Pixar. Branch out now to the other resources that you have, similar to what Universal is doing. They have the Monsters and Nintendo and Harry Potter and all that. They're incorporating all of those things that they've acquired into their one big park. So I really hope Disney does the same and uses a lot of their different entities in a fifth park, so we have something that has a wide range and something that we're not used to for sure. Hopefully that answered that question.
With this station as well, it's like the awning is definitely almost complete for the gondolas to come in. It looks like the boarding area is also being built. They'll probably start putting some of the exterior walls and everything up. Really looks awesome. And you can see the towers. And again, these are the towers that are coming through the parking lot from the Caribbean Beach station. So you'd depart from this station and head to Caribbean Beach, or you'd be coming in from Caribbean Beach into this station at Hollywood Studios.
It's pretty wild to speculate for so long, what this was going to do and how it was going to work, and to finally see it in action, and to have all that kind of come together is just really neat, especially looking back on this and just thinking, personally in my head, trying to figure out, how it was going to come in and out and what the stations were going to be in the loading processes and what everything was going to be.
There's the front entrance up there, and there's kind of this maze of fencing that you got to come through. you got a walkway that leads down towards
Oh yeah, then they
the main
fenced all
parking
this. Do
area.
you remember this?
Then you also have this long walkway that leads all the way down to the current bus stations.
I actually forgot about this. These corridors that we had to walk through for like a year.
Just kind of understand that you're going to do some walking when you get here, especially if you're using the bus transportation. Main
Yeah, because they started work on the tram.
Well, so.
Over on the right there, they started working on the tram system, and then they had all the Skyliner blocked off and the busing. So you had to walk a lot. This was really a pain in the neck when they had this set up like this.
Put your walking shoes on. You're going to do some trying to get in here. But you can see and you can hear a lot of the construction for the Skyliner. You see the towers going down through the parking lot. Again, you're coming in from Disney's Caribbean Beach. Hello! You're coming in from the Caribbean Beach, coming through the parking lot here at Hollywood Studios, and then heading into the Skyliner Tower. And again, you can exit through here and head back to Caribbean Beach, and then branch off to wherever you'd like to go from there. Okay, we're at the backside now. Just a really pretty view from the waterway. You can see.
Remember that that fence also pushed us back. You can see how far back from the Skyliner itself that fencing was. So that was kind of hard to get a lot of the updates at that point. There were only some limited angles from the opposite side of that fence and then behind the station here. So that went on for quite a while.
Again, that's all closed off. This is where the trams used to be. This is where the trams used to drop off here.
Hey,
that's
Scott, welcome.
Well.
Thank you for being here.
Backside of the Skyliner station.
Dave C. Pre-mural, yes.
There we go, guys. And again, that is the new bus stations that are being built. So it won't be that bad of a walk because...
See, Scott, I thought there was an Avengers site coming. They're doing the Avengers in California and is it Paris, I think, over in France is where all the Avengers stuff is happening. All the parks except for here, except for they're doing the Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot. But with the Avengers characters, they're still in Florida. They're still the contract that Universal has to use the characters in the parks. Disney is unable to use the Avenger characters, Captain America, Spider-Man, Thor, all of them, because Universal has a contract to use them in their parks. So Disney is incorporating them in all their other parks. Eventually maybe they'll work something out with Universal to where, Disney can finally get those main characters into the Florida parks where they belong. Because the Universal Marvel characters are really comic bookish. They're the old characters, which are cool. I mean, you gotta love the old school comics, but everybody knows Captain America as Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, and Ruffalo is the Hulk, and that's what people know him as now. So they really should be able to bring him into the Disney parks eventually. Hey, DVC Life, Kevin and Teresa, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Always appreciate it. Awesome. Rob, thank you for bringing us the magic and the birth and the history of your Skyliner. It's the people's Skyliner. But it has definitely a place in my heart. I fell in love with the Skyliner just because it's so cool and it's so nostalgic for Disney, and I loved it along the way. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. $10 super chat, very generous. 2000 D and LB. Sorry if I probably said that wrong. Pre-existing contract between Marvel and Universal. Just reiterating that fact. I think a lot of people know about that contract. It's a big pain in the neck, and hopefully they'll figure that out along the way. I think they traded for Oswald. Didn't we trade with Universal or some Paramount or somebody? We traded a newscaster way back in the day to get Oswald the Rabbit back. I think it was Universal who owned the rights to Oswald. So maybe they can trade one of the 20th Century Fox entities or something over to get the rights to the Marvel characters. Scott, absolutely, you're doing awesome. Johan, remember when we saw the first few gondolas and their testing, and we're getting excited to get you on a preview ride? Yes, I remember all that. We'll definitely get to that again, you know, we'll have multiple versions of these videos. This is episode 2. I usually like to spend a couple hours and go through, and episode 3 we'll hit more, and we'll get, you know, a little closer to finally seeing those gondolas being tested, those maintenance gondolas. One of the cool ones is that I have in the middle of the night at Caribbean Beach was the first hanger arm that they sent over. It was very, very, very slow. It was just basically to test the haul rope for the very first time, and that was a cool video. It was the very first thing to ever go back and forth across the haul rope, and we'll get to that video as well at some point. Like I said, there's a ton of footage here, a lot of history to go back and look through, and I do a lot of yapping along the way here too, so just having a lot of fun. Tiki Man fan, still haven't had the opportunity to ride. I hope you do soon. It is so much fun. You will love it when you ride it, I promise you that.
As far as I know, this is all going to be expanded over here, like security and everything. So you'll actually be just walking from those stations and the Skyliner station, and security and everything. The new park entrance should be located in this general area in here. So, all right, and finally here is the opposite side, again towards the rear. But you can get the other angle of the towers.
All the towers are now in place.
Just imagine, you know, these
They've
gondolas
cleared all that
coming
those
down
trees in the
towers,
distance,
in and out,
heading over to the
it's gonna be
Caribbean
really
Beach.
cool, especially going over the parking lot. You know, a lot of different mixed emotions on what the Skyliner is gonna be like. I'm really excited for it myself. I think it's pretty cool. I can't wait to ride it. Can't wait to see it. Just something new here at Disney, and I love when they add new things, new modes of transportation, new rides, all that stuff. I love the past, but I do, you know, love seeing new things coming as well. So excited about this. Again, there's the bus stations. Here is the boat dock. So everything is in pretty close proximity to each other. Disney's just going to try to make it as easy as possible when you're getting off of their transportation to just get a pretty quick and easy access into the front.
Excuse me. Sorry about that. So I definitely will give Disney a big thumbs up for what they did at Hollywood Studios. They had an overall plan on how this was going to finally be as a final product, and I think this is definitely the best park as far as transportation setup. Just the way everything is literally within a stone's throw of each other. You have the friendship boats, the Skyliner, the buses, and the tram that all literally come right into this central plaza here. So, you know, whoever sat down at the table and thought this through did a fantastic job. You know, the Magic Kingdom, if you've traveled there, that's a difficult park to get to. That can take some doing. You know, in the parking lot is across the Seven Seas Lagoon. You have to travel there by monorail or boat, or maybe one day Skyliner. The Animal Kingdom, only one mode of transportation. They're finally getting it a little better. The trams, now they've changed where the tram station is going, and the buses are still kind of far. It's okay the way it's set up. Epcot, you know, they have the monorail and the buses that are out front as well. The Skyliner is unfortunately separated to the back of the park, and we had talked about that. As the parks are exiting, I think it's a better situation to have multiple exits, so you're not having everybody cram out of the front entrance like they used to do. So that's kind of a good situation there. But Hollywood really nailed it, I think, as far as transportation, because you can literally access anything with just in a short walking distance now. So it's really cool how they got that set up. So moving along here, again, this was October. Let me see where I jump to next in my line here. So it looks like I kind of went back monthly for a while. We got November, from October to November. Let's see, this is the construction update. Looks like we got some cables being ran. Let me check this real quick. So an in-depth look at how it works. This was in November of 2018. I think this is where I finally started
at Aspen Dental. Smile
figuring out, you know, how the Skyliner actually works, the pieces and the parts. I had some good people, I think, at this point coming on and giving me some information as far as, you know, what the haul rope is and what the gondolas are, the hanger arms, the grips. So I want to listen to this and see what this is all about. Give me 1 second to cue it up here.
Hey everyone, it's Rob with Passport to the Parks, and today we are here for another Disney Skyliner update. We're going to learn a lot of cool things today. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to go to the different...
Yeah, so look how the look how the evolution has come from those first videos to now. You know, I'm on a tripod. I'm really doing things, you know, kind of figuring it out here. So it's just funny to look back
resorts
at
where the Skyliner goes. We're going to see the different stations,
the
as
evolution of some of my videos.
We're going to go to the 2 theme parks where the Skyliner goes. We're going to see those stations as well. We're going to learn a lot of things about how the Skyliner works, how you're going to load and unload. We're going to talk about guests with special needs. We're going to talk about inclement weather and just a lot of other fun, cool stuff. We're going to learn a lot along the way, and I appreciate...
See, I'd figured a lot of this stuff figured a lot of this out now. You know, by talking to some different people and figuring out about one of the big questions was the special needs. How, you know, if I'm in a wheelchair, or if I have to take more time to load, how would that process work? Nobody really knew up until that point, and I had finally started learning about that process and you out how that would work. And this is like one of the first videos that I really started getting educated and then sharing that education with you guys. See, 2000 Dan LB, I got the username long before the live stream chats. I really should change it to something easier. 2000 Dan LB, I got it now. Sometimes it just takes me my brain a second to figure it out. I've been following the Skyliner since I first ran across the permits for it, but still haven't ridden it. I was testing on my last trip. It wasn't open yet. I can't wait for you to ride it. I mean, I can't say it enough. I think you'll have a great time when you do it. You're not probably going back till Christmas of 2021 at the earliest. That's okay though. Let all this craziness go by and come next year when everything hopefully is back to the normal functioning, and I think you'll have a better trip.
You're coming along with me. If you would first, please check out PassportToTheParks.com. You can find all kinds of cool pictures, videos,
yes, I know
articles.
You guys already know that.
Going to look like it sits on a bridge between Art of Animation and Pop
Century.
Century.
We've done this before. I'd always talk about,
which is really cool, that it,
you know, the Skyliner map, exactly what it
and
is.
head up to Disney's Riviera Resort, which is currently being...
And I think I finally start going over to Pop Century.
The way they are working and as fast as it's coming along,
they're putting the fins on the back here now too.
Crossed, that's going to be the date that we're
a little more characteristic to the station.
All right, so here we are on the Pop Century side of the Skyliner station.
A much better angle over here.
Really hard at work. They're building what is going to be the roof area of where the guests are going to load and unload. Basically what you see in the center here is going to be the main workings of the Skyliner system itself. This is where the gondolas are going to come in and leave. So they're going to enter and exit through here. Just a quick overview. These are the Skyliner towers. And this is coming and going from Disney's Caribbean Beach. So
they drop the towers in the water.
That the Skyliner, or the gondolas, are going to be heading out over Hourglass Lake. You're going to see these beautiful views of the Art of Animation and then Disney's Pop Century Resort over here. But basically, there's a cable.
And again, I apologize. At this point, I did not have the wireless mic that I use now. So there was always a lot of air and wind blowing. And I actually had the camera lifted up because there's a kind of a fence there, so I had to hold the camera up, and I'm trying to talk, so you can barely hear me on this.
That runs in between the Caribbean Beach and Disney's Pop Century and Art of Animation. That cable runs into each station, and they run along what's called a bull wheel, and you can just kind of see it. It's a very big red wheel that's underneath here. That is kind of what powers the cable to spin
Talking
around.
about the bull
so
wheel.
As the cable comes into
Still calling
the
it a
station,
cable.
the gondolas
It's actually a haul rope.
each gondola has basically a clamp on the top. So what it does is it clamps to the cable, and the cable is moving along at a certain speed. I'm assuming it's probably going to move between...
That's funny. I had a couple people, I think Robbie Von Roll was one who finally came and said I kept calling it a clamp. It would clamp onto the cable, and he started educating me more about the grip itself, and it's the haul rope, and how, you know, as it would exit the station, the grip would clamp onto the cable. So as I would do some of these videos, you know, some people would come back and say, oh, this and this, and the terminology is this. And so piece by piece, it would just become a little more clear in my head. And it was just easier for me to talk about along the way, as far as, you know, trying to give better information and how the system actually worked.
10 and 12 miles an hour, so it's going to be fairly quick, especially when you're moving through the air. So as the cable and the gondola enters into the
So it's moving about 10 or 12 miles an hour. That's pretty accurate.
It's going to come and it's going to have a release. So when it enters the station, that clamp is going to release, and then the wheels that you see all the wheels on the inside. Let me zoom in here so you can kind of see them. The wheels will basically take the gondola then and move it along at a slower pace inside the station. So that's when the guests can load and unload. So the cable is going to constantly be moving at the same speed. It's always going to be moving at a fast speed. But the gondola system will release as it enters the station, move along at a slower pace on the wheels, and the guests can basically just load and unload. But kind of like how the people mover would work. It'll just be a slow-moving process. You'll get inside the gondola. Once you're inside, it'll shut the doors, and it'll slowly make a turn, and it'll turn back around, and you'll head out again through the wheels. And as soon as you have a major turn, it's going to start accelerating again up to the same speed as the cable. It'll reclamp. Let me do my reclamp. Grab onto the cable again, and you'll come out back onto the Skyliner towers and head to your destination. So that's the general idea of how it works. You're going to move at a...
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, this was the first time, November 2018, when I really had an idea of what the system would do and how it would operate, as far as how it would make its way around the station itself. You know, it would release itself from the haul rope, and then the inner workings, the wheels and the tracks would bring the gondola around. And you see it now, and if you've ridden it, that's exactly what happens. Is you can actually feel the acceleration and the deceleration as you're entering and exiting the station, as that grip releases from the haul rope. Again, the haul rope is constantly spinning at the same speed, so it just releases, and then the tracks inside pull you around really slow, and then the wheels will gradually increase your speed back up to the haul rope speed, and then it reattaches the grip, and then the haul rope just basically pulls you out. And this is the first time that I started sharing that, because I just learned about that, and I thought it was pretty cool.
A certain speed on the cable. Once you enter the Skyliner station, clamp releases, you move at a slower speed determined by the wheels inside, load and unload, and then reclamp as you exit the station. Clamp onto the cable and move along just as normal.
Let's see what else
so now
we
we are
about
on
here.
the Art of Animation side. You can see it's going to be very similar over here. They're going to have, again, the overhang where the passengers are going to load and unload. Basically, coming in on this side, on the right side, you're probably going to be coming in. You'd come in and you would exit the vehicle here, and most likely you would make your turn on the bull wheel, and then load and go out on the opposite side. So you're going to be exiting on the Pop Century side. And you can see again, this is where you would release, where the clamp on the gondola would release from the cable. You'd come in, you can see the wheels again on this side. It's going to slow you down to a very slow speed, so you'd be able to exit and enter the gondola. You would transfer if needed. The gondola would transfer to the back section, to where you could load and unload passengers with special needs. And then you would be able to re-enter.
There we go. So also brought up the special needs, the two separate track areas there for normal loading, and then special needs loading to the rear. So that was pretty cool. Nobody had been talking about that or knew about that up until that point. I think I had just been told about that or learned about that. So it's cool to share that stuff as well. I just really need to go back and listen to some of this. Chris says the best construction footage of anyone on the internet. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that very much, Chris. Very, very cool. Thank you. Angela Wiley, we have just put our holidays back from September to March. Probably, again, a good idea. Welcome, by the way. Definitely push further into next year. I think you'll be a lot safer because who knows what the rest of this year is going to hold, how these openings are going to go, and what could happen towards the end of the year. Ken, probably 2023 for us as well. Car Key Summer 2023 for us. 2021 for Christmas. So yeah, definitely it's probably a good thing to plan your trips a little in advance because, again, you don't want to get stuck. You know, if you have something towards the end of this year, if we have to go into another shutdown or anything like that, you know, you lose that booking and everything. So probably definitely safe to put it out a little bit.
The wheels would bring you back up to speed. Again, the gondola would clamp back onto the cable. And
so we'll jump over to
from the resort,
Caribbean
or
Beach.
Going to the resort. It's going to be the same process. The gondolas are going to be coming in through the towers. As they're coming in, they have that clamp that's on the cable. The cable is moving at a certain speed, a fairly quick speed. And as it enters, that clamp is going to release. You're going to come through, and the wheels are going to take you at a slower pace through the station. Same thing, you're going to unload or you're going to load. You're going to make a turn. There's a big bowl wheel in there, just a huge engines running these bowl wheels. This is where most of the power is going to be from. You're going to have the large engines running these bowl wheels in here. So as these bowl wheels are turning,
so that is correct.
The gondola system,
if you actually
unload,
if you ride the Skyliner now, as you're exiting each side of these stations here at the Caribbean Beach, this is where the engines are. So there's a loud humming noise. The Skyliner is virtually silent throughout most of your journey, but as you enter and exit the stations, just as you're leaving, as the bowl wheel is turning and the engine is driving that's the loud humming sound that you actually hear. So you have the engines at the Caribbean Beach side, and then over at the substations, at Pop Century, you have the the drive over there that's actually putting the tension on the haul rope. So there's there's a hydraulic drive that's pulling and keeping that tension on the haul rope. So the engine is driving at the Caribbean Beach. It goes around and it basically just makes a big circle. So that's the humming. So when you go over to like the other stations, you won't hear that loud humming sound. It's at the Caribbean Beach where the engines are.
Or you load. On this side, you would turn through the bowl wheel and then head back out to Art of Animation and Pop Century. Now there is a secondary loading and unloading station in the back. So you have your normal section up here for regular guests, and then you have your guests with special needs, scooters and wheelchairs. We'll have a secondary track in the back if needed where they can totally stop the gondola or slow it down at a slower pace. So we move over to the center,
that's
and this
exactly
is going
what
to
they do
be
now.
Where the Hollywood Studios line is going to be. So you can kind of see it's pointing in a different direction. It runs basically east and west. The rest of the gondola system is running north and south right now. So you're going to head over to the west, over to Hollywood Studios. Again, same principle. You're going to be coming in. That cable is going to be moving at a certain speed. The gondola is clamped to it. It's going to release.
See, Scott, you're asking, can I ride through the station if you want to go to the next station, Epcot to Hollywood Studios, which is basically what exactly I'm talking about right here. This is the central station that you have to disembark. So if you're coming from Pop Century and Art of Animation over from the left side of your screen there, you would come in, you would disembark, and then you would choose to go to Hollywood Studios or over to Epcot, and then you'd have to get back on a different set of gondolas, a different line, and then you would head over to whichever destination you want to. So everything is transferred at this central hub right here. There's no pass-through to go over to Epcot or Hollywood Studios. You have to disembark. It's a very simple process.
in place to where you can load and unload, and you're going to have guests with scooters or wheelchairs that can load and unload in the back. Same principle over here. This is going to move to Disney's Riviera Resort.
Johan, thank you for being here, my friend.
All the way into Epcot.
You're taking off.
This side
awesome
is going
to have
to
you
be
here. Appreciate
the
it.
longest of all the tracks. This is going to probably be a 10 to 12 minute ride. It's going to continue through the Riviera Resort all the way to Disney's Boardwalk parking lot. It makes another turn there and heads all the way to Epcot. This is going to be
10 to 12 minutes there. I think it's about 15 minutes actually to get over to Epcot from Caribbean Beach. So I originally thought 10 to 12 minutes, so off by a few minutes.
Cable, because we don't believe that it's going to end. It's not going to have an ending point at the Riviera. The Riviera is basically going to be a turning point. So it's going to be one continuous cable, we believe, all the way to Epcot. So it's going to be a huge, huge system, the longest of all the systems. The shorter one,
so that is
going
correct.
to be
Riviera is a
heading over
pass-through
to
station.
Hollywood Studios and Art of Animation and Pop Century, shorter cable systems. This is going to be the long one over here. The other thing that's happening here is you're going to have all of your storage of the gondolas here. So on the other side, we'll take a look at it, but just quickly, there's going to be a lot of storage on the other side of the building, and we'll get around to that side so we can see more of where that's going to take place. This is something else interesting that I wanted to point out. This is just kind of my own speculation, but right up in front here, they are clearing an area. This is over on the Riviera side of the station.
Yeah, still talking about the bus station up front here.
The Hollywood Studios section, then the Riviera side. So over here, they're clearing a large section. What I'm assuming is that is going to be hopefully a bus stop area. They are building some walkways over in front of Jamaica that will give you access over to the Skyliner station here.
See, we talked about that already.
The wheels and the loading and unloading will be in exit, or you're going to enter. You're going to make the turn, and you're going to come back out and head straight.
So this is over by Jamaica.
Onto that tower, and down through the Caribbean Beach, where there's other towers located, heading towards the Riviera Resort. So now we have the rest of this massive building over here, and this is going to be utilized mainly for storage and maintenance of the gondolas. You have an outside storage area here, so all of these poles, this huge area over here, there's actually two
that's
sides.
Where they hang right now. That's where they're
to be
currently
gondola storage.
Hanging.
Now,
during this pandemic, they've been hanging there the entire time.
Things. They'll probably store them at night. They'll probably store them for maintenance. There is some talk that they could be solar, so you could have solar panels on the gondolas, so they may periodically bring them off.
So that, as far as power, I didn't really understand how they would be powered at that point. I would learn that a little further down the road. They're definitely not solar. They actually charge as they go through the station each time. There's a rapid charger that's on top of the gondola that charges each time it passes through the station.
To park over here to become solar charged. The maintenance is going to happen inside of the building primarily. So as the gondolas come in, they can be removed. They can be moved on another track and pulled out to store. Now, some other things that could occur here, and this is just speculation, is you may have some ticketing in here. So you could possibly purchase tickets in here to get over to Hollywood Studios, maybe to Epcot, maybe some security in here as well, to try to alleviate some of the security and lines over at the parks. You could possibly do some of that transferring here into security,
no
get cleared,
pre-security
and then head
checks
into the
there
park.
or anything.
You can maybe buy some tickets here. That's, again, just speculation. That's not for sure. But they do have a massive amount of space to work with here. A lot of it is going to be storage, yes, but you might be able to do some other things as well. Now, this is kind of cool, guys, because as I'm looking up in the sky here, they're actually doing some skywriting, and they're making a little happy face above Disney World.
Nice.
On either side, you have a bull wheel.
So let's see
that's
the
in this
Riviera
station here, or this this entrance and exit. Then you have another bull wheel that's on this side as well. Now, in the center, you have a third bull wheel, and that's kind of where your 90-degree turn is coming from. And that's what's kind of making us speculate that this is not going to be a separate line. So this is going to be one continual line coming from Caribbean Beach. Remember what I said, this is going to be the longest of all the cabling. Reason being is that normally, the cable would come into from the Caribbean Beach and end here and just do another turn and head back. But since it's going to continue all the way around, it's probably going to be one full line. Now, unless they have some design to where it will release from this cable system, the cable itself will turn back, and the gondola will sort of go around in the center on the wheel and then reclamp over on this side.
So yeah, that's exactly what happens is, a lot of people were thinking that you would have to disembark here and, get on the other side to go over to Epcot. But this was something different. They started talking about it right here as it was going to be this pass-through station. And this is the only one, of its type to do that. All the other ones you do have to disembark. So we started talking about that back in November of 2018 on how they would make that sort of 90-degree turn there. And you're basically just releasing, and there's the tracks that pull you around. And you can, if you're getting off of the Riviera, you can exit there, or you can just remain on. And the cast member asks you whether or not you want to, head to Epcot if you're getting off there. And then they either leave you on board, or they can add extra guests as you're passing through, and then you're off to Epcot.
That's a possibility, but we're not 100% sure. It could be one long cable, it could be separate systems that just join in the center. But there is that center bull wheel that's going to make the turn, so it could be one continuous ride from Caribbean Beach through the station and then out to Epcot, or coming in the opposite direction. So as I'm standing here, let's kind of talk a little bit about inclement weather. A lot of people...
So, let's see, Scott, will Walt Disney World, for the reopening, hoping to have the Skyliner will be running? That's unsure how they're going to do that. It'll be interesting to see how they handle transportation as far as the busing and social distancing. The Skyliners, I believe, if they are running, they'll have to limit who is on board the Skyliner if they just do solo runs, or if you're with your family. I doubt if they would put you in there with people that you're not familiar with, or you weren't there with. At least you would hope that would be the case. They do have the vents. They can open it up, so there is airflow through there, but still a confined space, a little difficult to work with in these times. Dan LB, has there been any word on whether the Skyliner will open when the parks do? Same question there. Ken, I hope the Skyliner is open too, but keeping it clean will be a challenge. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. It's not like, cast members can, constantly run in and out of there and clean the gondolas. So they'll have to, it's interesting. I mean, they would literally have to stop them, or, maybe every other gondola, they'll have to work out a system to where one gondola has passengers on board, the next gondola is empty. As it's coming through the station slowly, cast member can get in there, spray it down real quick, so it's ready for the next passenger. And then as it's disembarking, they'll have to work out some sort of system to where they can get out of there and clean those pretty frequently. I wouldn't want to be the one in charge of trying to figure that out. That could be a lot of work, but it's going to be a necessity. They're definitely going to have to figure something out. Cape 6, thanks for the stream. Gotta go. Thank you so much, Cape 6, for being here and definitely being a moderator. Always appreciated. Scott, I was thinking the same. I am a transportation coordinator for a major university. Very cool. We're having the same issue. Disney transportation has a huge task ahead. We will be able to sanitize in minutes. Yeah, all of them, the buses, the boats, the monorail, getting those sanitized and keeping them clean, because you are in a confined space, is going to be a difficult situation. If anybody's going to handle it, Disney will for sure. They have the resources, and they're going to want to make a statement that they can do this better than anybody. Universal's been having their issues. From some of the reviews I've seen so far, people have said, not so great happening over there. So hopefully, Disney's opening a month after Universal had their opening, so I think they're taking their time. They're doing it right. They're going to look at the things that Universal's doing, what's right and what's wrong, and come out come out swinging and make this a good opportunity for everybody. Dan, albeit it was a little surprising, the Skyliner was not put with the security bubble. Yeah, you know, the transportation, they have it with the monorail, where you get on at the resorts, Polynesian, Grand Floridian, Contemporary, you have to go through security to get on the monorail. But to get on, you know, they don't have pre-security getting on at the Skyliner or the buses. You know, so that's always been a thing. I don't know if they'll change that in the future, if there's a way to change that. You know, it's hard to do everything everywhere for everybody. They do what they can. Disney has wonderful security. I think the security measures they have in place already are better than any of the theme parks that are out there, for sure. They have an incredible security force, and they do a great job. So, you know, we'll see as things progress into the future. Scott, how are they in the heat? They're fine. I get hot really easy. Once you're up there, there's actually a tremendous breeze that comes through the gondolas. You know, honestly, if they do stop, say on a 90-degree day, if they do stop, which they do pretty often, especially on the Caribbean Beach run, they will stop, but they don't stay stopped for more than, you know, 30 seconds to a minute or so. Then they'll start up again. But you can feel a difference. As long as the gondola is moving, there's really a nice airflow that comes through, and it's a very comfortable ride. But if it does stop, it will start to heat up for a little bit, and then once that airflow comes back again, it's definitely a lot better. But the heat is not a huge issue at all, at least in my opinion. I'm always very comfortable riding it.
People have been asking, you know, how is this going to be safe if there's a lightning storm that comes, if there's heavy winds or rains? You know, what's going to be the process? Obviously, we all know that Disney is going to be safe. The Skyliner will be shut down in any sort of inclement weather. You can't be stuck up there in lightning or heavy winds. So the process is going to be fairly simple.
It's cool. Eventually we'll get to my videos with the
rides is most likely
in the
going
storms
to be
and everything. Those are a lot of
Caribbean
fun
Beach
to
and
watch.
Epcot. Obviously, it's going to be the longest of all the treks. So what's going to happen is, as the storm comes in, you're traveling along at a certain speed. Again, from Caribbean Beach over to Epcot, you're probably looking at about 10 to 14 minute trip with the Riviera station in the center here. So in serious weather, they're going to want to get passengers off as quickly as possible. So as you're coming in, they would just exit you into a station for safety reasons. You would get off the gondola, wait out the storm until they started the gondola system up again. They would probably redirect you to buses or whatever transportation might be available at the time. But that's going to be the process. You're not going to be stuck up there, you know,
so yeah, that's definitely
in these storms. They're going to
definitely what happens with the weather.
Epcot, Disney is most likely going to leave some gondolas empty in order to accommodate passengers getting on and off here at the Riviera, or they'll just kind of treat it as the monorail system, to where, you know, you would have to find as much space on the gondola as possible. Unknown if you're going to be able to stand on the gondola or not for safety.
So that's exactly what happens as you pass through the Riviera. Like I said, the doors open, the cast member looks inside and says, okay, there's space in there. They put 2 or 3 extra passengers on there, and they just sort of play it by ear as each gondola comes through. They're able to load and unload based on who's already in the gondolas, and that system actually works really well.
Reasons, there's really been no announcement as far as passenger
you can't
size,
stand on the gondolas,
capacity, or if you're going to be able to stand. If you do have a person in a scooter or a wheelchair and you're standing behind them, that might be an option. But as far as just guests standing like on the monorail, we'll have to wait and see. So capacity is going to be sort of a question still up in the air. But there may be empty gondolas, or they may be just looking for space on gondolas as they come through. But again, this is going to be an interesting section right here with the Riviera.
So up to that point, I didn't know how many people would actually be able to fit on a gondola. And right now it's 10. And they usually, you know, put maybe 6 or 7 at the most in a gondola.
On how they're going to treat it. So there's going to be one on either side of the center here. So as you enter,
so jumped over to Boardwalk parking lot.
The gondola is going to release. The tires will pull you around slowly. The bull wheels will be pulling the cables. And as you exit, it's going to reclamp, and you are going to come up onto the tower on the cable. And again, you're going to be moving down through these towers here, we get a better view down through the park.
So just talking about the turnstile a little bit.
And right away, I am noticing something really, really cool as they are painting the front of this. There are some swans and some beautiful
very first time
and
they
flowers
just started painting that
they
mural
painted
up
on
there.
the front, and that gives me a lot
That was
of
November
hope
2018.
that they are going to start painting more of the gondolas, or more of the maybe the towers and the stations. Now that would be so awesome. I'm really excited about this part. We can see the tower leading in here. It's going to be the same process as the rest of the gondola system. You're going to enter. That's going to unclamp from the cable. The gondola will unclamp as usual. You'll go around. There's a secondary system in here as well.
This looks like everybody's agreeing that it's pretty cool
with the
when you're riding the gondolas.
The wheelchairs.
I don't think the heat has been a real major issue.
So you'll enter, you'll exit. The wheels will bring you around. I'm just really, really excited about the paint on here. I love seeing this right now. In the back, you can see where they're building, where the guests would actually enter and exit from. And then right up front here, this is where the magic happens. This is where the gondolas are coming in and out. And the wheels are there, the bull wheel, everything is here. One thing I do want to point out is how close these gondolas are actually going to be as they cross over the boat dock and into the station. I mean, the gondola is literally going to be right over top of our heads going into this station. It's going to be really, really
That's
close.
true.
Really
Beautiful,
impressive to see. And
beautiful shots of the gondolas as they come right over your head into the station.
Hopefully I can zoom in and you can see it. These are actually the cranes that are here in Florida, these white cranes that we have all over the place. And just beautiful artwork. I can't wait to see the entire station painted. And I'm really hoping that they'll paint the towers. Now that we're talking about the towers, there's been a lot of speculation on whether or not they're going to paint the towers, especially over in the Caribbean beach. They do have sort of this greenish color that they're using here, but through the Caribbean beaches.
Chris, Rob was right on point with a lot of the speculations. Yeah, looking back and listening to a lot of this, yeah, I think I got most of this right along the way. That's pretty cool. I had a really good understanding of how this was gonna operate, and like I said, I had talked to a couple really great people, Robbie Von Roll and Michael, who had a lot of experience in the industry with working with lifts and things like that. So they did help me with a lot of that. But just like I said, going and watching it and seeing it, the more and more you see something, the better you get a better understanding about it. And yeah, for the most part, I think everything I've said in this video so far has been pretty accurate.
They are the great color towers. We're hoping that they paint some whimsical colors.
They didn't paint the towers. That was a big issue for a while.
Caribbean beach theme over there, but we will see. But the paint on the station over here really gives me some hope. Now you can see how busy it is here at the International Gateway. What I did find out is that they will be expanding security and ticketing over here. Because right now there's basically only 2 lines that you can go through to get through security and through ticketing. So they're going to do a lot of expansion here because there's going to be a huge increase in traffic from the boat dock that's behind me with the Skyliner station. So they're going to expand a lot of this as we go along, which is really a positive thing because they're going to need it. It's really busy here right now, and it's really hard to get through these lines as is. So we are now going to head over to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Hopefully we'll keep our daylight here. There we go. It's a good shot of the building being built for Ratatouille.
Some more Ratatouille. That's really coming along back there now.
Well, this is what I was afraid of. We lost basically all of our daylight.
This takes a long time to do these updates. You have to go to all these different parks.
And
so literally, I lost my daylight.
Over here. So what I'm going to have to do is come back here in the morning so we can get some better shots. Hollywood Studios, we could see the new...
So jump back there in the morning. Let's see here.
So we're here over at Hollywood Studios finally, and
hey, Disney Duck.
Bye. All right, we'll start over here on the side. You can see the towers coming in from the Caribbean Beach Station, and they'll take you across the parking lot, across Hollywood Studios parking lot. You're going to have an amazing view when you come in. As you're coming in, you're going to get a really cool view of the Tower of Terror, which is in the background there. But here is the station itself. It's going to be a fairly...
It is a beautiful view of the tower coming in.
Guests are going to come in to Hollywood Studios. It's going to be the same process. When the gondola enters, that clamp is going to release from the cable. The wheels will bring you around. There'll be a secondary system in place as well for our guests with scooters and wheelchairs. Once you unload, you can just get off and walk right out into the main pathway here, which they are actually going to be extending security and ticketing here. So this is going to change as well. So you won't have to walk as far.
Kind of a bummer that the
you'll be able to get to
the Sorcerer Mickey centerpiece is gone, though. I really wish they would have relocated that.
So right now it is a pretty long walk, and I'll show you the walkway from the buses. Right now it's a pretty long walk, but that's all going to change in the near future. Also, it would be pretty cool, like we talked about before, if you could go through security, maybe at the Caribbean Beach, and even get tickets over there. We'll see how that process works. That would really save a lot of time. Especially
that's the only thing that didn't check out. That's not over Caribbean Beach.
Out of the way, but we'll see as we go along. So you can see this is kind of a crazy.
See Dan asking if you get off at the Caribbean Beach because of a storm, do they just hold you there or provide other means of transport? They do have the bus transportation that's internal there at the park, or at Caribbean Beach. So you don't get stranded there. You can take the buses. There's a bus right there, a bus turnaround right there at the Caribbean Beach station, and then you can transfer to wherever park or wherever you need to get to from that point. So no, you don't have to just stand there in the rain. They'll definitely provide other transportation to make sure you get to whatever destination you're heading to.
Easy intersection here. There is the Skyliner station, another good side angle of it. But right here is the walkway all the way down to
there's that walkway again.
Car entranceway, which is going to be in that general direction back there. That's going to happen on November 8th, so that's going to alleviate a lot of the traffic off of Buena Vista Drive.
So
the buses are going to be the only
close
ones
to
using
opening that new
entrance off of Buena Vista. The new car entrance is going to be off of Osceola.
New entrance.
So you can see there's a lot of pedestrian traffic here right now. But again, this will all open up once they get everything in place here. And the Skyliner station is going to add to that as well. Okay, here's the other side of the Skyliner station. This is a really good view of it. You can see where the unloading and loading of the passengers is going to be right in this area here. Of course, the main front section is where the gondolas will enter and exit. Guests will come from the park in this direction. They'll head over onto the gondola system and be on their way. Here is the new bus stations. Another view of what's being built over there. You can see how large that area is going to be. There's so many different resorts that come into here. The Skyliner station is really going to help alleviate some of that bus traffic. And of course,
So I think that that sums it up pretty well. 18,000 views I got on that back on November 9th of 2018. So pretty cool up into that point. So, okay, I think we've reached our